is it at? Is it over there? You see the Mac 15? Where's that? Oh, wait. It's in the back. So who's next on the table? And why are we outside? I'll show you. Mac 15. Considered to be the first homeowner saw. Got an emergency somewhere. 80cc. Low power. Well, I mean, they're not high revving ones for sure because of the porting, and we'll get into that when we show. Because we're going to have to put new rings in her. Kind of unique looking the way it is, how the engine stands up on these. And I'm going to show you why we're going to have to rebuild her here. Pretty much zero compression because the rings are stuck in the piston. And I tried unfreeing them up. And it sat with penetrating oil and stuff, and that didn't work. Compared to a 150 here, that at least holds its weight and runs great. So that is why we are having to get inside this. Has excellent spark, just pretty much no compression. So let's go get her in on the table here, shall we? And just like that, we are inside. So low compression is our problem. Yeah, too easy to pull. I've had this cover off the front off of this before and made a gasket and everything and tried to free up the rings. No good. So, you know, it's just one of those. We'll get out our impact and everything. We'll take this thing down, get its covers off of it again, whatnot, and we'll go from there. So that might. So I'm gonna take this front thing off and show you something here. I think this is the size we're after. Yeah. Show you those ports real quick. Intake ports. The front and the rears are the same. Yeah, we don't even have the table clean from the Power Mac. I don't think we're going to be taking the engine completely out of this body or anything like that. We're just going to do enough to get the crankshaft out and get the piston. We'll see how stuck the rings are still with this. But I've put fuel into it and everything. It popped once for me, but that was as far as that went. And there's my homemade gasket. Homemade gasket. Note how I did a terrible job at one point, so we'll be remaking that. So these are your ports right here. Hold on here now. There we go. Notice the right there, the lack of a port. The D ports. This area is absolutely useless. There's nothing. This has 4 intakes versus the 6, the normal 6 that it has, that a saw would have. So these are intentionally underpowered to be like this because this is considered the first homeowner saw, and you're lucky to see 6,000 RPM full throttle, no load with this. So, and if you do, then cool. But it's pretty, they had to do what they had to do to keep it kind of down for homeowner and everything. Kind of surprised they didn't really try to stick this kind of design with the cylinder upright and everything. And McCulloch was so close if they'd put the exhaust out the front and everything, but it is what it is on it, right? So, and you can actually, this is a cover right here. The carburetor goes to the bottom side. Everything on this saw is like bass backwards on how design is. You can put a carburetor on the front of here and make it operate and everything, and it'll work just fine. Dual carburetor. Another guy I know named Johnny, he loves these Macs. This is definitely his thing right here, and he's done quite a few things with them and everything. So, but you can put a carb up there if you really wanted to. These do not have a stuffer plate on them also, so that kind of kills the power on them. The stuff plates would be on the bottom where the intake for this is at, so that's kind of another power killer for it. So, anyways, let's get everything off that we're gonna need to be able to get this crankshaft out, and we'll get that stuffer plate off there too and whatnot, and I'll show you that. The carburetor here. Yeah, okay, so we are after. Oh man, I think we're able to get to that. We may or may not be able to. I don't know. Okay. Smaller. I didn't even check what size that could have potentially been. Look at that. It's a 7/16. Soles are really easy to work on. I got this one actually, I think last summer, and I got the engine freed up. I've had this assembly off before, and blah on you. I'm not sure. I think I had to take a wrench to those. But I got it for 40 bucks. Locked up. But not because of the rings, but because the crankshaft had apparently seized up or something. A little bit of white death had gotten to it on the inside, and I had to actually take wood and beat it to get it to free up. And then after that, the piston rings I'd noticed were all goobered up too. As I remember, these bolts were not the funnest to get off. It did move there, but there we go. Got it. There's one. There's a little nub right there for the oil hole, for the oiler. It's like somebody's better idea right here. Where was I? Yeah, 40 bucks. Had to free it up. Didn't have a bunch, but enough white death that the crankshaft and the crankcase got stuck together. Got that freed up. And after beating it with wood, so. But the rings up on the front were, and still are, they were stuck in the piston. I took a torch to it, everything, PV blaster, you name it, soaked it. Nothing, couldn't get it to increase. The compression to increase, and I knew once it was stuck in the rings that I was going to have to get a new set, and this one just kind of got set on the back burner. Until I got a set. So. Don't ask me how I got this last one off down here. Did I loosen it? There's probably some hardcore guy out there right now like, no, there's an easier way to do that. Hey, I got it. Holy crap, would you look at that? Ugh. And if y'all haven't seen, and y'all probably know, Jeremy's channel for some reason got shut down without warning. So we are hoping that it will be up again here very, very soon, because he put in an appeal for it. If it isn't done by Saturday, he will be doing live at 5 on Facebook. So you'll have to look for him, and you can find him in my friends list if you're friends with me. There's your intake, your reeds. I'm gonna have to flip them over. It's your standard little, that's your carburetor, that's it. Top feed. No impulse hole, nothing. Well, there might be an impulse right there. Might be, I don't know. So, there it is. Lower end. And the corrosion was right here. Really bad. But, we got that all taken care of. So, we're going to have to get that crank out. Get that piston out and get in there and get some new rings slapped on her and everything and whatnot. So, should be pretty fun, right? Piston, that'll clear. I hope. We gotta pop this, get the clutch, get the flywheel, get everything off. We're gonna do a quick montage of that, little time lapse for y'all, and when we go to pull the crankshaft and stuff, then we will come back to regular speed. Real quick while you were watching that, string down the spark plug hole, coiled up. Perfect piston stop. Not a metal tool. Don't shove something in the exhaust because you're going to end up shearing and breaking or damaging something. Take that off, and these come off. These have different right-hand threads, whatever they're called. That's how you get the clutch off of these. It says right on it, but that's how you stop that piston. Just reverse the engine. Pull your string out. There you go. Piston stop 101. We're getting there. We're getting there. So, what I mean by all that corrosion and stuff, there's some of it on the bearing. But bearing's in good shape. I don't see rust on the balls or anything like that, so I think they're going to be just fine. So, next we've got to unbolt. We're going to get reorganized here. I'm going to do that real quick off camera. Get reorganized here, and because when we drop them needle bearings, I want to make sure I have all 23 of them. The D44 has 22 and D55. All 23 of them. And then after I get that, then I can push the pin. I'm going to make sure the piston's all the way up here. And then I am going to tap the crank out from the other side. And then we can pull our piston out. And of course, I'm going to have you guys non-hyperlapse for that one so we can take a good look at it. But so far, there's nothing to it really. You just have to do this a few times and it's straightforward. 6 bolts around the outside. Just find them. I'll have you guys up here. No need to go overkill on these rod bolts. Just like I say, this thing doesn't see much power at all, so. Now the trick is getting things to hold still. Ooh, those were not coming undone easy. Ow! Ooh, just got myself, see? Just trimmed my skin. Ouch. There's one. Wait for it to bleed. I need to cram something in there to get that to stop. I don't need that. What do I need to do? I need to cram a screwdriver in there. Ooh, those were not coming undone. I don't know where my hex head is for my Harbor Freight set, so. Got those loose. Get you guys backed up and down here. Because this is where we're all going. A little higher now. And of course I realize the light doesn't shine for me down there too well either. Don't lose that. But I've got others. I don't need to put 10.9s in it. Don't lose that. Use Vaseline when you put those back together too. Just don't go on the floor is all I ask. Here. Gotta get the piston. There's the trick. And there we go. That is one beautiful crankshaft. Look how clean that surface is all the way around. Beautiful. All right. Pull. Make a mental note. Which way is the front of the piston? There's a dimple on this back side right here, Brian. This way. The other side does not have it. So that dimple might be that mark right there we need to remember to look at. Right there. So wherever that's at. Just like that. So that dimple goes on the back and like that for future reference. All right. Ugh. Yeah, there's a little resistance there at the bottom. Little resistance. I kind of want to have you guys here for that. I've never encountered that kind of resistance before. Feels like it might be from machining or something. Usually, those just pull right out. We may have to get the prying devices out. Go back. Let me get a bag for those so we don't lose them. It bleeds. Well, this piston just wants to be fun. Right over left and under. Left over right and under. And you've got a square knot. Close. No, I've never had to do this before, actually. Got it. Yeah. She got a little corrosion on her. I'll probably explain why she was a little bit of a pain there. But yeah. Let's get you guys to see this bore here. The bore is actually in fantastic shape. Nice and beautiful. Couple little ugly areas. That's why it had some resistance. But other than that, it ain't bad. Piston, on the other hand, hey, cochino. So we'll get that cleaned up. But see how them rings? They are stuck. There was no getting any compression out of it. So we're going to pry them out. Use the old ring to scrape out the grooves. We're going to slap some new ones in. We're going to be sure that these are the right size. Yeah. 55123 if you wanted to know. That's your McCulloch part number. So, and that's the exhaust side, because you can see. Yeah, that's the exhaust side, because you can see how nasty it is. We'll just leave this cap. Yeah, see, there's the mark I was talking about to the back. But you can't mess it up with the exhaust and everything, so. Alright, so we'll get this piston cleaned up and everything. Here, we'll get these rings out. Looks like the top ring tried to start to come out, but I took a torch to it, everything, and yeah, she wasn't having it that day, so. A little bit of ouch right there from pulling it out, but what other option did I have? We'll get that smoothed out and everything. We'll get this cleaned up with some Scotch-Brite, and now looking pretty good. Now, if I was real good, I would try and save these rings. But I'm not real good. But you want to try to be real good? Don't think that's going to happen today. Nope. Oh, not going to happen today. Alright, well, I don't know where that piece went to, but I need the, I need a chunk of it, though. There. As you take, per instructions, you take this ring, and you clean out the groove like so. See, look at all that. There, get the rest of it. Get that chunk out. Yeah, this wasn't coming out with a little bit of fire and flames. That was coming out with more of a force on my end. So, just take that. Yeah, clean it out. Preparation of piston rod. Clean piston rod assembly. Clean ring grooves thoroughly by removing carbon gum deposits or sharpened in a piece of broken. See, sharpened end of a piece of broken ring or with a good ring groove cleaner. So, there you go. So that is the trick. We're going to do that for the next one. Get her all cleaned up. I'm going to toss this back together. Got to do it, and I stopped myself. Remember that little burr? Gently take a file to it. And go till it's nice and smooth. There we go. See? Sure there's no other high spots here or anything from pulling her out. And this ain't gonna hurt too much. Say, this saw doesn't go at high speeds or anything, so a little bit of a bug out right there, but I think that was a in screen, Brian. This guy's gotta yell at me. It's right there. See? And now it's just indented in the piston. Don't know where that come from. There it is. Just a little indent. Nobody else got hurt or injured. Okay, see? Good as new. So now we go put them rings on there very carefully. Yeah? What do I say? before we put them rings on, let's make sure that we are good to go. All right, next lesson. The chrome one goes up on top. Your thicker one goes on the bottom. So, I hate putting rings on because I feel I'm going to snap them every time. It wants to fall in that groove. I'm going to sway it down to the next groove. You guys can see this? Okie dokie. Go. There we are. See that? That's got a nice outward push. That's what the others didn't have. And that's why we had no compression. So the next ring, make sure the beveled edge, that beveled edge right there, you see it up on top? That is up. There's a lot of clearances and stuff that you can check and blah 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 and everything, but we don't got everybody got time for that. Yep. So, make sure that I think both sides are beveled on these. No, okay. Beveled edge up. Make sure you check for that chrome on top, beveled edge up. And then we can get in there with the feeler gauges like they say and check this and check that. There we go. And when you go to put this piston in, keep these on opposite sides. So. That doesn't, just as long as they're opposite of each other, because if they line up, then you tend to lose compression through them. So. And of course, I could have taken the piston, checked the bore diameter and everything, and feeler gauge and whatnot, but this thing doesn't look like it has much of hours on it. So now, that was our entire goal. Now, we gotta slap this baby back together. Who's ready for that one? All right. I'm not going to hyperlapse this yet. So we're going to lube up the piston. My dirty hands. That's just some simple two-stroke. That'll make that old girl smoke. You don't need a ring compressor with these because the cylinder is beveled. So what was that rule we said? We'll move one ring there, we'll move one ring there. Intake and intake. So there's our spacing, our exhaust side, our mark. And you might need to help sway it slightly, but dirt. It's a Mac 15. It's a McCulloch. It'll handle the dirt just fine. There we go. One. So you may have to help her sway it a little bit, but other than that, there you go. That feels a lot better. Alright, so that's easy to put a piston back in one of these, any of these McCulloch blocks. Ones with removable heads, you know, you can just use your fingernails and you're right in. You don't even need to take the crankshaft out. That would have been really nice on this, but Can't get that lucky. Unless you put a 101B or a cart motor in it. So, I've got that all the way there for now. Let's get this cap off. Crank in. And we can toss this baby back together and hopefully have a runner again. See, people, these are not difficult. I'm using basic hand tools here. What was the special tool I used today? A puller. A steering wheel puller. Those are cheap at Harbor Freight. And you could build your own pullers too if you want. Get this off. The worst part about this, I think, is not disassembly or assembly. The assembly, like if anything, but those rod cap, the needle bearings, those suck. So we will use Vaseline because I was told to do that, because wheel bearing grease, even though I've not had a problem, does not wash out fast enough, I'm told. So we'll get the Vaseline. Yeah, you can see what I'm doing. So I'm just putting a very thin coat of Vaseline on that. And I'll do the same for the cap. Then we need to get the needle nose and one by one them in there. A couple of them are dirty. It's McCulloch. They know what to do with the needle nose. Poo. Oh, yeah. Well, okay. I wish I had a better set. That'll do the job for now. Yeah, it'll hold them. All right. And yes, I counted there are 23. One. Hyperlapse, anybody? All right, now we have to put the crank in. I mean, we don't have to put it in at this very second. This is always a nerve-wracking part for me. I never like putting the crank back in. Hold on. Time out. Back it up. See, you got rod caps on. Come on. I need to clean the bearing around it here real quick. Nice and lubricated, so we should be fine. That's got lube on her. So, don't want to lose any of you guys. I need to push you down. Don't want to do that either. You know, many heart attacks and stuff we are avoiding. I mean, I guess you could put the bearings around the crankshaft too if you really wanted. Who wants that level of simplicity in their life, right? Me. I just had you sliding in there too. Some big old Mac guru up in the heavens right now yelling at me. You idiot, you're doing it wrong. Probably. Alright. Now we've got that. Alright, we've got that far. we're gonna do is carefully not do that either. I want to try to figure. Yeah, I can. When the time comes, I can squeeze that down there. Because usually I try to pull it up, get the piston to come up higher here. So what do you say we take a chance at trying to put a bolt down in there to grab and pull it up, shall we? Or our lovely fingers. I need a little more grip on my thumb. Them rings are good now. Can't quite get my fat, there it is. The fat of my thumb. Oh man, them are good rings. There that is. So now when we go to put the cap on with all of its little buddies, that's going to make life so much easier. And you just saw that process of me putting those in. Same thing about to happen here. I had a brainwave during my video, and I think I know where the socket is for these Allen ends. Where's the torque wrench? That is a very good question. That is the worst part of this whole thing. If you can do that, you can do anything. Oh yeah. Let's get those torque down. What was the rating again, guys? Remember back from the CP125, if you watched that rebound, 90 inch-pounds, was it? Where are my adapters? Hold on a sec. Found them. They were literally right underneath me. Alright, let's get these torqued. Take them to, let's see here, unlock this. We'll take it to, yeah, unlock it better. Take them to 25 first. Yeah, it was inside the tool thing there, buried underneath the socket. So take them to 25 first. I guess they don't like me. I may have to get new bolts actually to put in that. They're not responding too well to being torqued down, so we're gonna have to get the 10-9s out. Hold on just a sec. I'm almost gonna say somebody else was in here at one time, because those bolts, when I was taking them out, they looked like they had witness marks on them. And I didn't mean 10-9, I mean 12-9 bolts is what they are. So they're the very last thing to go kaboom on this. And all my saws since the CP125 have these that I have rebuilt. Try this again, shall we? Now, don't be like that. Good Lord. Is that really what 25 inch-pounds feels like? Yeah. I almost want to say this thing ain't wanting to click. That feels a lot tighter than 25. Oh, come on, give it up. Give it up, sweetie. Click on that and let's see if we can. Yeah, there it goes. Or maybe that was my vice grip slipping. All that work to go find stuff. And everybody's having a hard day here. No? See? It's clicking. I don't know. I don't feel as if that's responding properly. That's always clicked for me. You know what? We might call that good, because that feels pretty good and tight, and despite it not clicking. That's just weird. That's very weird. I've never. Yeah, I get to break right there. So, oh wait, is that my vice grip slipping? Yeah, it is. I'm gonna say this torque wrench is having a problem, a major one. Let's get better vice grips on it. Okay, for some reason on lower numbers they ain't clicking, but up on the higher, it's doing it. So. I'm curious if we got those over tightened now. Joy, huh? Ooh. Oh, yeah, those are way over tightened. Actually, kind of feels like factory now. Like we're breaking factory ones loose. We having fun yet? I know it's gonna work because it's fighting me this much. Alright, there we go. Alright. One more time, guys. It's weird. That see click? There it is. That's 80. Let's take her to that would be 100, so yeah, okay. 90. Here we go. And I always relieve the pressure on my torque wrenches. That's number one rule you're supposed to be doing with them, and some people don't. Alright, let's get this thing back together. Alright, before we go any further, got everything buttoned up. I don't know what I did with this spark plug. Oh wait, there it is. It's sitting right there. I was looking around for a minute. Alright, let's make sure we have ignition. I have not cleaned the points, not done a thing to anything. It's still the way it was. Whatever, it doesn't care as long as there's contact. Alright. So. Oh, it's gonna ground out against the head, you dummy. Gotta keep the language clean. So let us make sure we still have ignition. And we're gonna use the drill. But turn that to where you guys can see it. And it's got really good tight, the ring is really good and tight on her, so I think we're gonna have a success story. Oh yeah, nice bright blue. All right, so we're good there. That means we put the side cover back on, the clutch, and the bottom piece. But before we put the bottom back on, we're going to go through this carburetor, and that probably won't be till tomorrow morning, and go through it, get it clean, put a new diaphragm in it and whatnot, and then we can put it back on and everything. And somebody's definitely been in here since me because that gasket is shot. It's just squished out real bad. Maybe, yeah, I can see somebody's been in here, rebuilt it before because of the marks from tooling. So we won't be putting this bottom back on yet. We're going to flip these reeds over because they look like they're bent up. And that's probably why it had its problem of moisture inside. So we're going to just do that old trick of flipping the reeds around. So but we're going to get the side cover put back on, and then we're going to get the clutch on, and we should be pretty much wrapped up other than, like, say, the intake system. So let's get that real quick. Well, I think that's all we're going to do this evening. So we've got 90% of it done. We'll do a part 2 on the carburetor and the intake just to take a look at those and inside that carburetor, because I've never been inside that style. I mean, it's a Tilderson, but it's got a lot less to it. So we'll take a cool little look inside that. So, but I just want to thank you for hanging out with me and getting them rings changed out. So till tomorrow, you know. Hey, thanks for watching. How about we do a little teaser pull? Put the spark plug in. Got it on stop so it don't spark on me. Let's see how well she holds her power compressions. Oh, yeah. Oh, man, that's better. She's going to run. Remember before it couldn't hold itself up? All day. All day long.